All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started with today's webinar. Again, thanks everybody for sitting in and being here today. We're going to look at how to boost your vehicle sales this holiday season. So just to give you all a quick introduction to J&L Marketing and myself, J&L Marketing. So we offer digital and direct automotive marketing solutions. With over 26 years of automotive experience, we work with over 7,000 dealerships nationwide, and we have preferred vendor status with 17 brands. My name is Tyler Wilson. I'm the digital strategist here at J&L. I've got over 10 years experience with digital. Specifics or specialties include paid search, display advertising, social media management and advertising, and marketing strategy. Just to give you all a quick introduction to today's webinar and some of the things that we're going to cover is we're going to examine the current automotive landscape, take a look at what's happening today, analyze key holiday trends, annual trends, cyclical trends, and what we should expect this year. Take a look at understanding consumer buying behavior. We're going to review holiday insights across key digital channels. And then we're going to put all that together and we're going to develop a holiday marketing strategy that's designed specifically to maximize sales. At the end, we're going to do a sneak peek of our new exclusive capability, VIN-specific retargeting. So just getting started, take a look at the current landscape. And before we jump in there, it's very important to understand the current landscape, the current trends, and consumer buying behavior. Toys R Us didn't go bankrupt because people stopped buying toys. They went bankrupt because they didn't adapt to the market. Same with Blockbuster. Blockbuster didn't go bankrupt because people stopped watching movies. They went bankrupt because they refused to adapt to what consumers wanted. So if we really want to maximize our sales this holiday season, first, before we can develop any sort of strategy, we need to understand what the current landscape actually looks like and what the trends are going to lead to. We can't predict the future, but by analyzing past performance and current data, we can get pretty close to understand what's going to happen. So taking a look at the current landscape, so the U.S. vehicle sales year to date. So this was pulled from a reputable source, Y-Charts, and if you look since January 2017 all the way through August, you see a pretty linear downward trend. Last month was a nice turnaround, but it was a bit of an exception to the year. Automotive strategist Eric Ross says the automotive sales spike is the start of a big cycle turn, which is great news because, as the year has been a little bit down, we saw this big spike last month. A lot of that was associated with Hurricanes Harvey and Irma. There's a lot of devastation throughout the South, and especially, people lost their cars, they had flooding, and what we saw in September was a lot of those vehicles being replaced, which led to a big spike in automotive sales. Had that not occurred, it's hard to say what exactly this would look like, but it is nice to know that we should expect this spike to be the start of a nice big cycle turn going into the fourth quarter. So looking at the U.S. vehicle sales by makes and by type, it's pretty interesting. We can see cars in general, mid-sized cars, small luxury cars across the board are all down anywhere between 8 to about 12.5% year over year. Whereas when we take a look at trucks and SUVs and crossovers, they're pretty much up across the board, both year over year and month over month. Minivans and small vans are down, but small SUVs, luxury SUVs, and crossovers are up across the board. If we look at the makes and the specific models like the Ford F-Series, they're up 10.5%, while the Chevy Silverado is down 1.5%. But if we look at the Toyota RAV4, the Nissan Rogue, the Chevrolet Equinox, the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the Toyota Highlander, all of these trucks and crossovers, they're up pretty significantly, right about 20% year over year. And that really aligns with what consumers are doing nowadays. Less people are buying cars, or they're buying smaller mid-sized cars, but they're buying larger cars. Or they're buying less minivans, and now instead they're buying SUVs or crossovers. So it's really important to understand how consumers are buying in the current market. So some of the key takeaways that we can get from this is U.S. vehicle sales have been in decline since January 2017, but they have rebounded in September, primarily from the hurricanes Harvey and Irma. Vehicle sales should experience a growth, though, throughout Q4 of 2017. Car and minivan sales are down significantly year over year, while truck and SUV or crossover sales are up significantly year over year. The largest gainers are the Toyota Highlander, the Nissan Rogue, and the Chevrolet Equinox. So now that we understand a little bit about the current landscape, let's take a look at what are the different holiday trends and what we should expect this year heading into the holidays. As we ramp up going into October, November, December, we anticipate those to be some of the busiest times of the year for car sales. So let's take a look at historically what has happened year over year. So this data was pulled from Google Trends, and I encourage everybody to go to Google Trends and explore. You can get a lot of really interesting consumer data. You can see what kind of search terms are popular. You can see what's going on in today and what was going on last month, and you can look at the latest trends and see if they're still popular or when they've declined. But something interesting to take out of this is the search term best time to buy a car. So you can see two pretty big spikes annually, the first one being in November and the second one being in December. And this is pretty consistent year over year over year. This is measured by the interest over time, and that's basically how many search queries were there across the nation for the term best time to buy a car. So you can see the beginning of the year is relatively flat, and then starting in the fall and really into the winter months is really when it starts to pick up. As we can see spikes, the first spike in November and the second bigger spike in December. Now taking a look at car deals. Now this is interesting because this is very isolated to the same time of year every single year, and that actually is the week of Black Friday. Consumers have gotten used to Black Friday deals and specials, and now they're starting to assume that everybody is having deals. So why not car dealerships? We can see that the interest annually has actually grown from a little less than 70 to almost 100 year over year over year. And again, this speaks to consumers are expecting there to be deals on Black Friday. Also taking a look at end-of-year car sales. So we can see the first and the second arrow annually is November and December. You can see that December really is the peak of the year, which makes sense for end-of-year car sales. But again, people are really starting to ramp up these searches towards the end of the year. November really starts to pick up, and then December it spikes annually. Interesting, this year we saw a very big spike around September. This may have been impacted from the hurricanes, or it just may have that more OEMs and manufacturers, car dealerships were having Labor Day type of sales. But what is good to notice is that these are the terms that consumers are actively searching. And again, we need to align with what consumers are doing if we want to really put together a sound strategy. So let's take a look at Black Friday sales in general. Now, typically, obviously, this is more retail focused. However, we can see that the Black Friday sales have actually been in a little bit of a decline since 2012. 2012 was around 100, and even just last year, we are just about 65 or 70 as far as interest over time. And this correlates almost directly with Cyber Monday sales. So as people are more shifting away from brick and mortars more to digital, consumers are looking more and more for Cyber Monday sales and less for Black Friday sales. But as more businesses have done is they've started to have sales, retail especially, starting Thanksgiving, maybe the day before Thanksgiving, running all the way through that Cyber Monday. But it's important to note that this is what consumers are this is the mindset that consumers have. And Cyber Monday sales, especially last year, was the biggest peak it's ever had. And we can definitely expect that trend to continue into this year. Mobile is expected to have an 87% impact on all holiday purchases. Again, this is more of a retail stat, but it does speak into the consumer mindset. Consumers are on their mobile phones, and they're using their phones to do their own research. And they have an 87% impact on all holiday purchases. So a lot of times people are in their shopping, and then they're pulling out the phone to do price comparison, or maybe they're just relaxing at their house and they're just browsing on the internet, but they're on their phone again. They're browsing through all the different deals, and they want to know what's going on. Almost 70% of all auto buyers say they're influenced largely by digital video. So whether this is YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn recently rolled out with a video capability, it's very important to note that, car dealers and manufacturers have historically used video, obviously primarily through television, But more and more and more as we shift into the digital landscape, digital videos, short 15-second, 30-second videos are really capturing the attention of auto buyers. And 7 out of 10 people are influenced by those videos. PPC campaigns are pay per click. So this could be paid search, this could be display advertising, Facebook advertising, primarily paid search in general, but these campaigns can increase brand awareness by 63% when businesses use online advertising. A lot of this goes into the fact that people are online, but it is a really great way to reach these customers and increase your brand awareness and increase your visibility online. And 63% of these campaigns can increase that brand awareness as people browse online. And then 74% of Americans, so 3 out of 4 people, are on Facebook and spend more than 50 minutes per day. So nearly an hour a day is spent on Facebook alone. This doesn't account for all the other social media outlets such as Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, the list goes on. But what this does speak is, Facebook is the current king of social media, and it's very important to understand where your consumers are at. And so if 3 out of 4 people in the U.S. are on Facebook and they're spending more than 50 minutes, nearly an hour a day, then maybe it's not a bad idea to start marketing on Facebook, advertising on Facebook, reach your consumers where they're at most. So a couple other main media insights that we've gained is new auto sales have jumped in September, and that momentum should continue, which is great heading into the fourth quarter. Holiday spending is expected to increase 6% this year. That speaks a lot to the current state of the economy, but also it's showing that, retail trends are going positive. People are going to spend money, and we should fully expect the spending in general to increase 6% year over year. And last year was very significant for retail and holiday spending. So to see that the overall holiday spending is increasing by 6% this year is just a great sign of the economy and great sign of what's to come. Since 2013, so over the past 4 years, November, December, and January have had the highest number of vehicle sales each year. So as we saw earlier, with the exception of September, we are in a pretty big downward trend as far as our U.S. sales go. But as we ramp into the fourth quarter, we should fully expect November and December to really turn this year around. So again, we need to understand what the consumers are doing, we need to understand the trends, and then we need to develop a sound strategy to really impact those people. And Black Friday is now one of the busiest sales days of the year for many dealerships. We'll get into Black Friday a little bit more later in the webinar, but this is more of a newer thing in the automotive industry. Past 5-6 years even, this has really become more popular. But this really aligns with consumers, and this really aligns with consumers' buying habits. Because as we see more and more consumers looking at Black Friday deals, doing Black Friday shopping, looking at Cyber Monday deals, the auto industry is starting to align with that, and some dealerships even are having Black Friday sales events. So just some key takeaways from the holiday trends is U.S. consumer searches for best time to buy a car, car deals, and end-of-year car sales peak from November through the end of the year. So, these are very high-intent searches. You would expect people to be performing their searches to be interested in buying a vehicle in the next month or two, and these searches are peaking right now through the end of the year. So this is really a great time to really hit these customers and really get them, a good time to buy. Consumer searches for Black Friday sales are in decline, while searches for Cyber Monday sales are on the rise. Again, this just speaks to the fact that digital is becoming more popular day after day, and that kind of aligns with what we're seeing. Black Friday is becoming increasingly popular for auto sales events, and holiday spending is expected to increase 6% this year. So we're really in a great time right now, because we should fully expect fourth quarter to really turn things around in the industry. The economy is in good shape. We should expect 6% increase in overall spending, and people are really primed to purchase right now, this time of the year. So we understand the trends that are going on. We understand what's going on currently in the current landscape, but what about understanding the consumer buying behavior? So let's take a look through a consumer's lens. So just this year, 400 Office Depots have closed, 200 Walgreens have closed, 154 Walmarts have closed. And this just, again, goes into the fact that people are going online. Consumers Consumers would rather order something off Amazon or order something off the internet than actually going into a brick and mortar location. And so as companies are adjusting to this by closing down their retail stores, other companies are also adjusting by increasing their web awareness, increasing their inventory, making it easier for customers to interact with their websites online. And then people are visiting 1 to 2 dealerships. They're actually visiting 1.4 dealerships on average before buying a vehicle. Just 12 years ago, 2005, this number was 5. And as we've seen huge leaps and bounds grow in not only the internet and the digital space, but we've seen that reflective onto consumers. Consumers are doing more homework. They're doing more online shopping. They're doing a lot more comparisons before they go into the dealerships, and they're really determining what they want before they go in. And that's why we see less and less and less dealerships being visited before purchase. So what about looking at ad budgets versus the actual consumption? So eMarketer showed us a nice breakdown of about 43.6% of digital budgets in the automotive industry, 43.6% of ad budgets are spent digitally in this industry, followed by television. So 81% between digital and television. And then we've got radio and print as well. Now, traditional media is still extremely effective, but as we see more things shift into the digital space, so as we look at the data from Polk in-market shopper consumption, 75% shopper consumption digitally, which doesn't necessarily align with the budget. So I think what we can fully expect to see is, as less budgets are going towards radio and television, more are going into the digital space. So another aspect of this is understanding what the micro moments are. So Google did a study where they followed a lady named Stacy, and Stacy was looking to buy a vehicle for her and her children. And over a 3-month span, she had over 915 digital interactions before she purchased. And this was really eye-opening to a lot of people, but Google took a step back and said, okay, what were the different micro moments in her buying process? So what were the major elements that Stacy was looking at? So which car is best? So what is the best luxury SUV, best car, best sedan? And then, is it right for me? So, okay, so I've looked at all the different models and makes available, but is it right for me? Is it going to fit for me? Can I afford it? And then, okay, I've decided what I wanted, but where should I buy it? So what time did car dealerships close? Where is the nearest dealership near me? What car dealerships are open today? I mean, these are very high-intent search terms, and these are people that are very, they've done their homework, they've looked at what they want, and they're ready to buy now. So taking a look at, again, this is going back to Google Trends. Here's the search term, car dealer near me. So you can see starting around 2015, 2016, the interest in this really ramped up. And a lot of this has to do with how people are performing searches now. So as mobile has grown, people's searching behavior has grown as well. So people are pulling out their phones, they're doing a near me search, they're looking for something now. And people are doing a lot more voice searching as well, and this is reflected in that. Same as used cars near me. Near me has become extremely popular because 5, 6, 7 years ago, instead of doing a search on your desktop computer at home, now people are actually performing the searches while they're in the shopping process. They may have left a dealership and they're saying, okay, well, I didn't really like what I saw there, but I wonder what else is around. So I wonder what other car dealerships are near me. So they might pull out their phone, type in used cars near me, and see that your dealership's only a mile and a half away. They click get directions, and now all of a sudden, 15 minutes later, they're looking at your inventory. But this really aligns with how consumers are more on their mobile phones, how everything's going more digital, and how consumer searches are affected by that. Something else that is interesting is looking at other primary factors, such as safety, navigation, horsepower. What's very interesting here is, navigation peaked around 2012, 2013, but then it immediately started to decline and has, fairly declined ever since. And again, this goes into, you don't really need OnStar in your car because you can have Google or you can have Siri, you can have your phone tell you where you need to go. So navigation became less important for consumers. Now, safety has been pretty flat throughout the years. It peaks around the summer and kind of declines and peaks and declines, but it's pretty linear throughout. But then look at horsepower. So horsepower is on a pretty big increase, and that actually aligns almost directly with the Dow Jones. So as the economy goes up, the searches for horsepower goes up. But it's important to understand that, why are you promoting navigation when navigation isn't really something that consumers are looking for? If people are looking for horsepower and your car has 510 horsepower, well, that's probably a good selling point to have. But again, it goes back to understand, what are consumers doing, what are they looking for, what's important to them. There's a lot of really great information for looking at the car buyer journey. So car buyers spend 59% of their time online now, and all buyers spend nearly 15 hours. Used buyers spend a little bit more, which is, not a big surprise. People are looking at used vehicles, want to make sure that they want to look at the history of them. They want to know if it's right for them. They want to look at a lot more specifications versus a new vehicle. But also, if you look at multiple devices, so it's not just on your phone, but it's also on your tablet. It's on your desktop. 83% is actually on your desktop, followed by 46% on your smartphone and 31% on your tablet. But this is happening across multiple devices, and that's important to understand. And then looking at the initial purchase intent. So about a third of people knew exactly what they were looking for, versus 67% of them, 2 out of 3 people, didn't really know. They knew nothing, or they knew a little bit of something. But also what's really kind of glaring here is the sources used to shop. So 78% are using third-party websites, versus a little over half, 57, on dealership sites, and even less than that on OEM sites, unless it's a new vehicle, whereas that number is a little bit higher. But then you can see the time spent on sites too. I mean, we're talking about 6-7 hours spent on third-party websites versus maybe an hour to 2 hours tops on your own dealership website. So what are some things that we can do to get people away from third-party websites, get them to our website, get them shopping our inventory, and get them interacting with you? But it goes back to really understand, what are consumers doing? So initial contact with the dealership. So 60% of this initial contact is walk-ins, right? Followed by phone, email, online chat. Now, a lot of this goes back to people doing their homework, and then they're ready to buy, and then they walk into the dealership. Now, if people have additional questions, they may be reaching out via phone, they may be doing an email, they may be trying to find a price match, trying to, get in a waging war between a couple different guys. But it's really interesting that the top 5 activities are about car pricing, and then followed by the actual vehicles listed for sale, looking at different models. But if you understand what the activities are during the shopping process, and then you align your marketing and your advertising with those activities, then it just makes it that much easier to get them into the door. So overall satisfaction. So you can see there's a big discrepancy between all buyers, new and used, but how long the process took is really a big pain point on satisfaction. People are, in general, pretty happy with the overall experience. About 80% of people are pretty happy, but as you start looking at interaction with the financing department, looking at the process, there's certain parts of this process that people really are unhappy about. So again, how can we alleviate those things, and how can we increase customer satisfaction? So just looking at some key takeaways. So retail stores are closing. Consumers are buying more and more online. Consumers on average are visiting 1.4 dealerships versus 5 in 2005. Dealerships, dealer groups, and OEM ad budgets don't align with actual ad consumption, especially for digital. Auto buyer search queries are becoming more localized, near me. Auto buyer needs are shifting. We looked at navigation versus horsepower. Third-party sites are the primary source used for auto buyers when shopping. And ultimately, a fast, no-pressure, transparent pricing, and low financing rates have the biggest impact towards customer satisfaction when buying a car. So with all that said, how do we put together a winning strategy? Well, let's talk about sales events first. Most popular times during the holidays for an automotive sales event are pre-Thanksgiving, Black Friday, pre-Christmas, and then the end of the year. So what does that actually look like? Well, we took a look at when we had the highest response rates last year and historically throughout the years, and we aligned that with what the calendars actually look like. So as you can see, the darker green, the 10th and the 11th, followed by the 17th and 18th, and then the 3rd and 4th, those weekends actually had the highest response rates for sales events within November. So what does that mean? So say you're hosting a sales event in November. Well, the best weekends based on our historical response rates would be the 10th and 11th or the 17th and the 18th. Now, Black Friday, we talked about that a little bit earlier. So again, this is relatively new in the automotive industry. The response rates are typically lower, but the quality of foot traffic is typically very high. Because, you know, a lot of times if people are going to go out and they're going to fight the crowds on Black Friday, they have a really high intent of buying whatever the deal is. Our data does say that one-day events do have a lower response rate than two-day events. So if you are to hold a Black Friday event, it probably makes sense to have it both on the 24th and the 25th. But going back to our historical data, we would recommend the 10th and the 11th or the 17th and 18th. And that's because of a gift idea. So Butterball Turkey gift certificate. So, you know, it's a great pre-Thanksgiving gift because, you know, Thanksgiving is obviously very popular. Our turkey is very popular on Thanksgiving. So if we had an event and we offered a Butterball Turkey gift certificate, then we've seen that the data supports that we should have increased response rates around holiday times with this specific gift idea. So what about December? So again, the darker areas are the ones that have historically had better response rates versus the ones in the lighter areas. The weekend before Christmas is probably not a good idea at all. You know, it's not saying that it would be a total bust or anything, but, you know, with a lot of people traveling and then just staying in for the holidays in general, it may not be the best time to hold a sales event. So the best weekends based upon our historical response rates would be the 1st and the 2nd or the 15th and the 16th. Again, those would align very well with the Butterball Turkey gift certificate because people are looking for, again, turkeys during Christmas, and so it's a great gift around the holidays. Now, the 29th and the 30th, since it's so close to New Year's Eve, and New Year's Eve is on a Sunday, which a lot of dealerships are closed on Sunday, and again, people are going to be out of town, the response should still be relatively high, but, you know, based upon all the information, we would probably recommend the 15th and the 16th or the 1st and the 2nd over the 29th and the 30th. So what if your customers don't want to come in for a sales event, right? So what if people, they just want to do all their homework online, they want to email you, they want to chat. You know, there's a lot of data that says that millennials don't like to talk on the phone. They want to text. Well, the same sort of logic applies to people that don't want to come into your dealership. Now, they're going to have to come in eventually to buy the vehicle, but, you know, maybe they don't want to come in for a busy sales event, but they'd still like to shop your inventory. They'd still like to get a good deal. So how can you combat third-party websites? So again, earlier, a fast, no-pressure process with transparent pricing and low financing rates has the greatest impact on customer satisfaction. Because of this, what J&L developed was what we call lead gen. And what lead gen is we analyze, you know, we send out direct mail, we do email, we do Facebook advertising, we look at who are the most likely buyers in your market for vehicles, and then we drive them to a specialized landing page. And just to show you all what that looks like, so here's one that we've developed right now. And so say you put your name and your information in here. And it's just a quick form. You know, it's just got a few fields that are required. And then you say view your website. So we have personalized URLs that are personalized for people, and then we have more generic URLs. But you can see right here, the incentives are being pulled in. You can see in real time as you adjust your monthly payments. You can see the vehicle's update. So say I want to put $2,500 down. I'm willing to pay between $200 and $350. You can say in real time the actual vehicle inventory. Maybe my credit's a little lower tier, or maybe I want to finance a little shorter term. But you can see in real time how fast that happens. And what this does is it goes back to what customers are looking for, right? So customers want it fast. It's very fast. There's no pressure because they're doing it on their own terms, transparent pricing, and low financing rates. These things all lead to the greatest customer satisfaction. So this hits on all those right in one centralized place. But what's also great about this is you can see in real time within your own reporting dashboard what's going on. So as we pull up Johnson City Honda, which was associated with their Easy Car Buy website, we can take a look at where these leads are coming from, what they're doing with the website, how they're being interacted with, and we can actually see very specific detail about these customers. So as you can see, here's Zach Shinara right here. He just registered. And look at this. We have, in real time, Zach spent 26 seconds on the site. We can see the type, the term length, the minimum and maximum monthly payments, the down payments, even the credit level. You get all this information right from the website in real time. So what better way to interact with your customers than, you know, having this data on them already and giving them this no pressure environment where they can shop your inventory. So that aligns with what we call Easy Car Buy. So part of the Easy Car Buy is we'll actually work with your dealership and we'll create, you know, banner ads that allow you to visit this website straight from the, or you know, visit your landing page straight from your website, and it all ties in together. So it's all about, you know, making sure that we're interacting with people from all walks of life. So what about digital marketing? So we've got paid search advertising, display advertising, Facebook, YouTube. Most people are pretty familiar with those main channels. But some of the other capabilities that we have is VIN-specific paid search ads. So we can pull your inventory in real time, and we can bid on keywords, and we can dynamically create ads based upon your inventory. VIN-specific retargeting ads. So we'll talk about this right here at the end, but basically we have the ability to cookie those users that have searched a specific vehicle and then serve them ads of that specific vehicle and land them right on the vehicle details page. And then we have advanced automotive targeting strategies. So we can pull those customers out of your DMS and we can serve only those audiences with those ads, whether it's on Gmail, whether it's on YouTube, paid search, Facebook. We can only hit those customers within your DMS, or if you'd like, we can exclude those customers from seeing the ads. So digital calendar for November then. So obviously, you know, Saturday and Friday are going to be very important days, but based upon historical data and looking at a lot of dealerships have a lot of good foot traffic on Mondays as well. And then obviously throughout the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So you can see the darker areas versus the lighter areas have more emphasis. So you can increase your budgets on those days. You can increase your bids on those days. You can basically just maximize your efforts by, you know, spending less around the holidays and spending more on the weekends when people are ready to buy. So, you know, top days, Fridays, Saturdays, Mondays. Top times, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Those have been shown to have the most foot traffic. Again, you can reduce your budgets and bids on and around the holidays. That exception would be Black Friday, of course, if you plan on holding a sales event. Reducing your spend and bids on Sundays, assuming your dealership is closed, which a lot of you are. And then you may want to reduce your Facebook budgets and bids on Black Friday. The reason being, you know, if a lot of retailers are on Facebook advertising, you don't want to drive up your own ad cost by trying to compete with them. So if you're not having a Black Friday event, then it probably makes sense to cut back your social media budgets around those holidays, and especially on Black Friday. So what about December? So, you know, the whole week leading up to Christmas, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, it probably makes sense to slow down a little bit on those days. But definitely Fridays, Saturdays, Mondays, throughout the week as we go through December, you know, really end up the year strong and really advertise the best you can. So again, top days, Fridays, Saturdays, Mondays, the times 10 to 2. Whereas the difference with this is you may actually want to increase your Facebook budgets around Christmas and the surrounding days as social media traffic will increase. We've seen year over year, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, there are more people on social media platforms around the holidays than there are ordinarily. While internet traffic in general may slow down, social media traffic actually increases. So what does the ultimate promotion calendar look like then? So let's say that in November we wanted to hold a sales event on the second weekend. So not only do we have our digital going, but we've also got our Easy Car Buy. starting on the 6th of the month, we can start doing lead gen, so we can send people direct mail. We've got personalized direct mail, personalized microsites, emails. We've got Facebook. We've got the Easy Car Buy website banner ads, and then we've got our sales event. So, combining all the elements, and, this is obviously maybe, I wouldn't say it's necessarily overkill, but it's definitely hitting people from all angles. So whether it's people that are interested in coming in for a sales event, whether it's people that are comfortable shopping on home, in the comfort of their own home, maybe it's people that would like to browse Facebook, or maybe they're going on Google paid search, the display network. This kind of hits everybody from all walks of life. And then December is the same way. So in this example, we would have a sales event on the 3rd weekend of the month. We've got, of course, our Easy Car Buy and digital ads running year or month long. We've got our lead gen starting the 6th of the month, and then we've got everything working together to close out the year strong. So as far as a winning strategy, some of the key takeaways. So digital, we would run it all month long, but we would adjust bids and our budgets based upon days and the times of the days. We want to maximize our dollars as much as we can. Easy Car Buy, we would promote that month all month long with the banner ad on the website. We have seen that the banner ads on the websites have generated significantly more leads and more traffic than the testing that we did without banner ads on the website. So we know that there's a lot of people coming to your website already, and by supplementing the Easy Car Buy path with the banner ad, we see a lot of really positive results. We'd start doing our lead gen starting the 6th of the month, where we'd hit them with direct mail, email, Facebook, and then we'd hold our private sale event on those selected weekends, targeting our previous or conquest customers via direct mail, email, Facebook. And so basically, we want to hit customers all walks of life. We want to reach the customers the way that they want to be reached. And that goes back to, understanding the current landscape. So are we going to be advertising cars or minivans, or are we going to be advertising trucks and SUVs and crossovers? And are we going to be doing this digitally? Are we going to be doing this with traditional media? Are we going to be doing it on the radio, or should we put more money into Facebook? So it really just needs to align with what consumers are wanting and needing, and then what are the trends looking like year over year over year. So as we close out, and we will have a question and answer section here at the end, so if anybody has any questions, please feel free to send them our way, and we will get to those and try to answer everybody's questions the best we can. But we want to give everybody a sneak peek of our VIN-specific retargeting. This was just released out of beta testing for both Facebook and Google. And what this looks like, so say a user visits a 2017 Honda Pilot EXL on your website. So you're very specific, stock H44099. The user is cookied as seeing that specific vehicle, and then they're served an ad for that exact vehicle on Facebook. Once they click on that, that'll take them back to the actual vehicle details page of that exact vehicle that they looked at. What we're seeing with these results is our click-through rates are a lot higher. Our response on the websites are a lot higher. We're getting a lot more post interactions, page interactions. Our time on the page is higher because people are getting e-prices. They're looking to get, scheduled test drives. They're looking to interact. But ultimately, this messaging resonates a lot stronger with the consumer because they just looked at that vehicle, and maybe they left the site, maybe they had to leave and they had to run out the door real fast, and they forgot what vehicle they were looking at. Well, now they're scrolling through their Facebook feed, and they see an ad for that exact vehicle. And we can customize the ad messaging. We can include pricing. We can include, a lot of specific messaging. We can do new. We could do used. This is an example on Facebook, but this capability is also offered on Google Display Network as well. This is a brand new capability that we would be happy to discuss with anybody. Feel free to reach out with us, send us an email, give us a call, tell us that you saw it on the webinar and you'd like more information, and we'd be happy to discuss how we can get that implemented for you. So without further ado, we're going to open up to some questions and answers. So let me just open up the questions panel real fast and see what we got. So somebody was actually asking about how much the pricing was. So for Easy Car Buy, it says, how much would it cost me for Easy Car Buy for 1 month? So normally our pricing is $7.95 a month, but we can give you a special discount on this webinar of $695. So if anybody has any questions on that. Somebody else is asking about what were the best days and times for those sales events. So let's just go back real fast in the slides and see if we can pull that open again. So I'm not sure if it was November or December, but again, looking at our past historical data, the best response rates that we see are in the second or third weekends of November. So that would be the 10th or the 11th or the 17th or 18th. Again, we would recommend those dates in November because of the Butterball Turkey gift certificate. But if you're looking at December, the best response rates are shown in the first weekend or the third weekend. And again, if we're going to be having an event around that time, it really makes a lot of sense to promote some sort of turkey, ham, some sort of giveaway such where people can interact and get that for holidays. Okay. So we've got a question, how much is the Facebook remarketing? So right now our Facebook package is $495 per month plus 5% of ad spend. This is available for anybody right now that's in our current Facebook, that's currently a customer of ours on our Facebook product. If you're interested in specifically the Facebook remarketing, we can work together and we can put together a quote of what that might look like. We'd be happy to get together on a call or schedule some time to discuss that. Okay. And so if there's not any other questions, we will go ahead and wrap it up. Again, thank you everybody for joining us here today. If anybody has any questions, if anybody would like to reach out about any sort of pricing for the sales events, anything like maybe even a service clinic, about lead gen, easy car buy, any of the digital packages, Facebook, we'd be happy to jump on a quick call with you. We can discuss strategy and how we can align to really maximize your sales for these upcoming months. And if you mention the webinar, you may be able to get an exclusive offer. So again, my name is Tyler Wilson. I want to thank everybody for joining us here today, and we look forward to speaking again. Thank you.